One, two, three, four.
All right, and welcome back to It's Not a Sport. We are back for a new episode 10, I believe. We have a good talk this week. I'm finally want to address twitch.tv, what they become, how they kind of got to this point, the drama around them, and where I see them as a platform going forward. So I think this talk has been something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and it's going to be a very interesting one from a consumer point of view. But I'm also going to point out, maybe if you want to look at some content, like content creator point of view, some people that you can check out as well. I think this talk it's very interesting for the overall publicity of the gaming community. So with further ado, let's get into the talk. But quick reminder, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. It always helps me out. And then if you want to listen to all of our past shows, they are archived on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to our shows on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes and Google Podcasts. All those links are in the description below. So twitch.tv. If you don't know, let's start from really the beginning, I want to say. In the beginning. So originally Twitch was called Justin.tv. It was different, under a different company, and eventually Amazon bought it and developed it to Twitch.tv. And originally it was very strictly for gamers. It was very, very heavily game based, where we only saw video games being produced on the platform. And then eventually we started to move away from that and get closer into just chatting, as we see here, who is currently has the most viewers, and events and music, and it became more variety. But it was really just a place to go, an alternative to YouTube, because really in the early 2010s-ish, YouTube was dominating with Let's Plays and all that. That was really what YouTube was, all that. And then YouTube ad apocalypse happened, and etc., and people started going more towards Twitch rather than YouTube. And that's kind of how Twitch got its popularity. That's how it came to be, is that it was always it was television for gamers by gamers. It was something for us to watch and something for us to do, you know? And now it's developed more into a, again, just chatting is just, it's huge to have that social aspect. There's a Korean thing where in Korean streams, it's just people are so lonely that they do eating streams, and people eat they eat while the streamer is eating, and that's how people connect. And I think besides that, an entertainment factor of, you see these huge Twitch streamers that are kind of doing their own reality TV sort of deal, and they all group up and make content. I think a very good example of this, at least in the gaming community right now, is GTA 5 roleplay, which, if you watch GTA right next to just chatting, GTA is the second biggest viewership right now. And GTA roleplay, all the streamers are on there, and they're making content on NoPixel, a private streaming platform, and it's basically reality TV within GTA in a video game. And that's what Twitch has kind of become, just, I would say, more reality TV platform than a gaming platform for games. So let's get into kind of my first big downside of Twitch, and what really happens with it, and why the platform, I think, is starting to become more controversial. And the first one being ads. As a viewer, YouTube, for example, you'll get 2 15-minute ads, and depending on how long the video goes, depending on what type of video it is, you may get ad breaks in between those you're watching the video, but generally they're no more than 15 seconds, and if they are longer than 15 seconds, you can skip them. perfectly fine. uh TV, for example, is somewhat the same, where they give you 5-minute ad breaks in between shows. uh this has kind of stopped being a thing almost, with like 45-minute long shows, but like I guess Game of Thrones, for example, where they would just show the straight up for 45 minutes. But that's HBO is a completely different ball game from the rest of TV. But generally you get 5-minute to 4-minute ad breaks when you're watching TV. So, and no one likes ads. No one does. It's just that simple. But we need them because they get the ecosystem going. And by you watching the ad, that's how your favorite content creator actually gets paid and makes their money, other than donations and other forms of income. But through ads is one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons why Twitch and YouTube can still be around without us like paying some sort of subscription to even access the site, is because we get those ads, and those ads fund the website. And also Google and Amazon are their daddies. But again, that's kind of how ads work. And over the last couple months, especially this year, Twitch has gone heavy on forcing ads down people's throats, to the point where we were getting a lot of negative feedback, where people were saying they would be watching their favorite streamer, and then an ad would come on, and then they would miss, a big moment in the stream. And the ads are not 15-minute ads. They're not skippable. They're like 3-minute unskippable back-to-back short ads, and they just keep on going. You can't skip them, and you can miss them. Now, the streamers do have the power to play how long their ads are and when. So let's say, okay, we're going on a bathroom break, let's play an ad. That's perfectly fine. But it's the random ads that are becoming the problems. And keep this ad part in your head, because it's really going to matter. So what we do is we get ad block to counteract that, and then Twitch kept getting around that ad block. You couldn't like look at Twitch on alternative sites. You couldn't watch streams. Let's say I have the website It's Not a Sport, and I was streaming, and you are watching the Twitch stream from itsnotasport.com. They would block it out. A whole bunch of bad stuff happened with ads. So that was kind of one of the first big drawbacks to Twitch compared to, let's say, YouTube, is these ads. The second one, I would say, is how they manage the platform. And here we go. And I think if you followed the Twitch drama recently, this one's going to be short and you can understand it. You can understand, if you look at a lot of these streamers too and what they're saying, how they've managed the platform hasn't been well received. Especially recently, you can say with some of these posts, they added like a race post, or like you can add racial tags and add new features that made like chat easy to be spammable and stuff like that. And of course, how these ads work are not really that good. How the Twitch team has banning the word simp and incel, which is understandable, I guess. It's a form of hate speech, I guess you can say, but it was a really weird move on their part just to like ban those words. And then there's probably other words that are just perfectly fine to say, but that's just a short example of something like that, of just how bad their management is. And then we get into kind of the main problem of Twitch that has been plaguing it all this year, but it's been plaguing it for a long time, since Twitch decided to stop being, I think, a gaming platform and started being more of a reality TV show platform. And that is kind of how they're selling sex. Now, this is no surprise to anyone. Sex sells. It's obvious. It's really obvious that sex sells. It's been in the code of content like forever, since advertisement forever. Like if like, this is a really bad example, but like on the browse page right now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, look at like how the pictures, if you're new and you don't know any of these, the pictures, just chatting, oh, what's that? It's a female. I'm gonna click that. Fortnite has another female logo, and generally I think they do a female Valorant too. League of Legends has a very hot looking guy on it. So it's generally sex sells. It's just as simple as that. But the problem with it is how Twitch has really enforced and monetized sex sells, and we get into the first big meta that was going on, which were the hot tub streams. And the hot tub streams were essentially, if you don't know, chicks in bikinis in a hot tub, and people would pay donations, and they would write your name on their skin. And before this, it was like squat meta, like workout streams, where people would pay streamers to female streamers, of course, the big ones being Indie Fox and Amarath, to do squats in the background of their stream. So and again, this is nothing new. I think it's fine if we put it into a different context and the bad management didn't come into play and ads didn't come into play. I'm working towards it. Stay with me. So we have the hot tub streams, and this stayed around for maybe like 3-4 months. I don't know, since the beginning of this year. Really, it really picked off stream, and people were doing hot tub streams, and it was chicks in bikinis. Who doesn't like chicks in bikinis? It's one of the main reasons why you go to the beach, right? And as a young 11-year-old boy, a 12-year-old boy, in the world that we live in now, of course, it's very easy to access this sort of content, which I would say is light porn, softcore porn, but it's also very easy to access real porn as an 11-year-old kid. But as again, it's like, what does Twitch want to be? Does it want to be a gaming platform? Does it want to be a reality TV platform, or does it want to be a softcore porn platform? We don't really know. So hot tub streams, extremely easy to access, and they're all in the just chatting browser topic. So what Twitch did is essentially they said, okay, we're finally going to address this issue, and we are going to make a private category for hot tub streams. And it's fine. We're not going to ban chicks for selling their bodies or showing off their bodies or doing this sort of content, even though it is very, very on the line between their TOS. And people who are going to be in this category won't get ad revenue. So the only reason they did it was because ads, people who, let's say you're Nike and you're putting ads on Twitch for the Faker Jordan or the Faker shoe, right? And you don't want your platform, your ads associated with that sort of content. So people in the hot tub streams don't get ad revenue. They don't get ads, because they're not associated with that sort of content, because the people who make the ads don't want those ties together, which is perfectly fine. But that's the reason what forced their hand is money, essentially. So what happened next? Well, the new meta happened. You're not making money from doing these hot tub streams anymore. You got to do something else. So they move on to this ASMR fart meta, which is like ridiculous to me. Absolutely ridiculous to me. So essentially what it is chicks would lay down, mostly with their ass on the screen. You can Google it. I recommend you don't, but you can. And they would do ASMR, and really that's it. And that became the next meta, and that led to the most recent bans, and they've been banned multiple times before. The biggest hoes on the platform, Indie Fox and Amarath, got banned for only 3 days, where a lot of people have been banned worse, a lot harder. I remember watching a stream where some mother left for a while, and her kid walked onto the stream and interacted with the stream for a while, and she got banned permanently for that. Where these chicks have been doing this for a very long time, keep getting away with it, and get banned only for 3 days. And this ban was obviously just to make maybe the community happy or something like that. But the ban means honestly nothing until Twitch decides what they want to do. And if they want to allow this sort of softcore porn, that's fine. We can make a 18 plus platform where, you know, it's a 18 plus, you know, category where we can do that sort of thing and be the cam girl site that we that they want to be, or they do want to be. The problem with that is, again, ad revenue. I don't think any ads are going to be associated with that. I don't think and the money will drop. But these girls are already doing this sort of thing where they're promoting through their stream, promoting their LinkedIn to their OnlyFans, which is more, again, a gateway to real porn. And we go from softcore to real. Not saying it's hard already, but that's how it goes. And then even if you don't know, there's already an 18 plus sort of site where you can find all these girls on, I think it was called boba.tv or something like that. I'm not even going to search it, but it's basically all the titty streamers out already. And I know this is a very not safe for work topic, a very touchy topic, but essentially I think Asmongold had a video on it recently that really puts it in his view, which is very right, where this affects these problems of Twitch basically being a softcore porn website really brings into the problem of it affects the people who aren't softcore porn website creators, the actual content creators on the platform. Some of my favorite, like Uberhaxer Nova, we have over here, Scara, I'm a Cutie Pie, fucking T-Pain's on here. Yes, T-Pain. So it affects people like them making a living on the platform and not selling out their bodies. And then eventually it affects all gamers. How long until, because we all know how government likes to put a bad rap around video games overall, and stuff like this will eventually come back and invite the whole gaming community as a whole, or maybe they'll start banning something like this. It's bound to happen. It's bound to catch the eye of somebody who's gonna think it's wrong and will try and block it out and profit from it while the rest of us get fucked. It's bound to happen unless like Twitch's management steps up. And based on the feedback and the reports and the things that they're doing, they're not. And really it comes to my question of how much money are they making off of being a softcore porn website? How much money are Indie Fox and Amarath making them that a 3D ban is at most what they'll get, even though they've been banned multiple times and probably should be permabanned from the site? That's the question. It's a really hard question to answer, and eventually at the end of the day it just affects those good content creators overall. I've never been a big fan of Twitch overall. I've always liked YouTube, always liked the UI of YouTube. So with that, getting all that topic and talk out of the way, I met on my of selling sex on twitch.tv. When did this all happen? I think, when did this all really become a problem? And it became a problem when another massive company, Microsoft, shut down Mixer. Mixer was real competition for Twitch in terms of live stream platforms, and nobody really got on to Mixer because it's really hard to get eyeballs on, you know, certain channels. So no one got onto Mixer. And then when Microsoft shut Mixer down, Twitch was able to just do whatever they wanted to do. They were able to just, you know, make the ads worse, let these girls get away with this sort of thing. They don't have to they don't have a competitor. There's a problem with monopolies. You need a competitor. It's one of the really interesting things between the whole Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft talks that are going on right now, is that if you listen to some of the big ones, they're saying we want WoW to be we want Final Fantasy to be good so WoW can be good, because they're competing with each other in these silly days and they grow off each other. That's the point of competitors. That's the point why overall monopolies are bad. So with the death of Mixer, Twitch basically has a monopoly on the live streaming platform. And what are the alternatives? Well, there's two alternatives. The first one, and I think probably the better one to go back to, is YouTube. YouTube, you have the live streaming platform. They have a strictly gaming centered platform, and YouTube, of course, has bigger things than Twitch. For example, if we go back to Twitch, you can see like right now, just chatting is really big. But gaming wise, League of Legends is always a big one. Valorant's a big one. GTA because of role play, and I don't know, Minecraft are always big ones. But YouTube has a really big Roblox following. Also has a really big Fortnite following. So you can always check out YouTube, and that can be a good streaming platform. And I think overall it's a better streaming platform because the UI is better. You can pause a stream, you can rewind it, you can fast forward it. It's a lot better, user friendly. Now it doesn't have those clip features and all that like Twitch has. At least I don't believe, but actually I think they just added an ability to clip. But that's the reason, because again, everyone's on Twitch. Not a whole lot of people have eyes on YouTube. The second one, and is probably more beneficial for the creators, is Facebook gaming. Now here's the problem. Facebook has such a bad rep here in the United States that it is very hard for people to watch Facebook. You know, you hear Facebook, people go, Facebook, that's, you know, why the fuck would I ever want to go on Facebook? They're, you know, terrible ad revenue, misinformation, etc., etc. But in other countries, Facebook is huge. You know, Facebook is huge in India, for example, and they're still around for a reason. So Facebook is an example. And then Facebook, most recently, they made it so that content creators get 100% of the ad revenue just to get people on the platform. So if you can somehow move your audience to Facebook, whenever they subscribe to you on Facebook, you get 100% of the ad revenue, which is huge. So big that Twitch decided that you can't log in on Twitch using Facebook anymore. That's how big it is. It's a really, I think, complicated subject, and overall, if you want to be a content creator or a streamer and want to try it, Twitch is the only option you really have right now because it has the most eyeballs on it. But it's not the best, and it's by far gonna cause problems for us farther down the road unless we decide to change something up. Further ado, that's going to be this week's episode, this week's talk. Let's get into the news right about now. I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to hear your thoughts on Twitch, on being a cam girl site, selling softcore porn, especially how easy it is to access. It's a very interesting, I think, topic, and I think we need to kind of voice our opinions more and kind of maybe start doing it with our wallets a little bit more for Twitch to get aware of it, or for Amazon to get aware of it. All right, and welcome back to It's Not a Sport news section of this week's talk and show. So we're going to get into the news of what happened over this week. Not a whole lot of news, relatively quiet, so this should be fast. But quick reminder, as always, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It always helps us out. You can find all of our previous shows on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to the show on our podcast platforms, be iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify. All those links are in the description below, as well as our website where you can see our articles that we posted over the break. And there's a new one that I should be working on coming out relatively soon. So with that out of the way, let's get into some of the news. First, the next Mana game has begun development. So that's good. It's always good to hear that, like, if you're a fan of a franchise, like for me, example, Breath of the Wild, it's always good to hear that it's at least in development, that it's being worked on. You'll never know how development goes, nor I think should you know how development goes, but just knowing that it's in the works is always a good thing. Lord of the Rings is getting 2 new servers with 2 different experiences that are coming out relatively soon. Actually, I think they may be out for Lord of the Rings Online. So that's very good news for Lord of the Rings Online fans. I hope this news actually isn't true because this would be very weird, but it wouldn't be a surprise. Sega is reportedly turning Sonic and the Hedgehog into a VTuber and wants to open a theme park. Sega is one of those companies that is still around but isn't in the limelight like they used to be, and their biggest product is arguably Sonic. And there was a really really good video by a YouTuber, I forgot who made it, but it's essentially how people wanted Sonic to grow up with them. How the Sonic community has grown up, and they wanted Sonic to grow up with them, which is kind of why, like, I think the Sonic movie had so much of success. And I think this goes for every product that you're a fan of. As a Star Wars fan, I love Star Wars, and I want Star Wars to grow up with me. So seeing like the Clone Wars continue and kind of get more greedier and darker with like the Mandalorian stuff like that it's good overall. So I think that may be a topic for a different show, but I think that's good overall, and that's why Sega is trying to push Sonic and make new products so that the old school Sonic fans have something to look forward to. Really good news by Epic. Epic Games is giving developers free easy anti-cheat for their games, and I believe free in-game voice comms for their games as well, which is really nice, especially the anti-cheat, just to have that if you post to the Epic Games Store. Yet another reason to probably develop a game and put it on the Epic Games Store is just so you can have like free anti-cheat for your game. Is probably really nice. Cyberpunk 2077 is back on the PlayStation Store after its horrendous launch and it being bugged. And from what I hear, it's still pretty bad. It's not that great of an experience, even though now it's back on PlayStation. And also, like, from what I hear as well, CD Projekt Red hasn't been doing too well after the failure and release of Cyberpunk 2077. Their books are all in the red or something like that. So it's nice, I guess, if you're waiting for this game to come back on the PlayStation. It's out again, but I recommend, like, don't get it on the PS4. Get it on PC if you're really desperate, and then either wait for this game to like truly be fixed or for modders to fix it for them. Honestly, like, it was you can go read the article on the website about my thoughts on this game, but at this point, later down the line, I'd rather have another Witcher game. Twitter, some interesting stats from Twitter about like what's going on in the gaming world on Twitter. First off, most countries tweeted about gaming, and this is big, no surprise, is Japan and then United States and then Korea. Those are probably the biggest gaming producers out there. It definitely, I believe it goes United States and then Japan, and I would probably say Korea would be a close second, maybe China, but we never get data on China at all, so it's really hard to see what China is talking about. But just in general, like, having this data out is not surprising that Japan and United States and Korea are really big gamers, and then Brazil and in fourth, because Brazil are also really big gamers. The most talked league actually was the CBLOL League, which is actually Brazil's League of Legends league. So that's the most talked esports league, which was really cool. And then they showed like some of the teams that are here. Most CBLOL team mentioned was Loud Esports. For Call of Duty League, most mentioned team was Optic Chicago. For Overwatch, most of Overwatch mentioned team was Dallas. Valorant and Sentinels, generally the best team. League of Legends EU was G2. They're the biggest and most famous team in EU. Most talked about esport athlete, it was Mongrel. Most talked about esports team was Loud Esports, followed by Pain and then FaZe and then G2. Most talked about video game in the world is Genshin Impact, actually, which is really surprising. I guess it's not that surprising. And then we go to Apex Legends. Then we go Assembly Stars. I haven't heard of that one. I have to look into. Final Fantasy. I suspect that Final Fantasy is what really talked about because, one, the expansion came out. Two, wow, people are just really fucking mad at their game and they keep mentioning Final Fantasy right now. That's their big crave right now because they want to check out Final Fantasy or be like, hey, Blizzard, why is Final Fantasy good where our game isn't? So I think that's why Final Fantasy is probably fourth. Animal Crossing, Knives Out, Fortnite is seventh, Monster Hunter, Fate the Grand Order is ninth, and Minecraft is 10th. Very interesting. Most tweeted about personalities is Colin569. I have no clue who that is. Countries that tweeted the most about E3: United States, and then Japan, and then Spain. Like I said, United States is very big in gaming, then Japan's second, and then Spain's interesting actually. I thought it would be Brazil or would be more up. Most tweeted about game was Breath of Wild sequel, The Legend of Zelda Breath of Wild sequel, and then the Elden Ring, Battlefield 42, Halo Infinite, and then Forza Horizon 5, which was probably my most hyped about games. Those were the biggest announcements I think that came out and got people by surprise. And I think people are really waiting for Halo Infinite, which is probably the most anticipated game of the year. And then after that, we gotta wait and see. Top 5 most listed spaces hosts, and that's pretty much it for the Twitter data. I think this is very interesting to always get data like this just to see, gives you an idea on what people are thinking. Minecraft Alpha version 1.1.1, an extremely rare version of Minecraft, was finally found after 10 years of searching. Apparently this version of Minecraft was only live for 3 hours, and the dude who got it was only who downloaded it 90 seconds before the next update came out or something like that. But oh my god, dude, I would actually love to check this out and play this. What is OG Minecraft like? Extremely raw to its core. No fucking food mechanic. No wolves, no spiders, no sheeps, no new cave updates, no new items. I don't even know if Diamond was in the game at that point. It's just you and a crafting table or something like that. What was OG Minecraft like? So, yeah, it says it right here. Alpha 1.1.1 was only available to download for 3 hours and 25 minutes. After that, Alpha version 1.1.2 was released, which fixed the bug. So that's pretty impressive that this is now out. I wonder if they'll release it to the public and you can download it. I may check that out because that'd be really cool. Assassin's Creed Valhalla director leaves Ubisoft for EA motives. To one shithole to another, I guess. So yeah, I guess that dude's left the Assassin's Creed Valhalla director and now he works for EA. Anyway, that's going to conclude this week's news. Real quick, let's get into esports. I don't think a whole lot of stuff happened this week, but we're just going to go over the standings for each leagues and games. For the Overwatch League standings and Summer Showdown qualifiers, we have Boston Uprising first, followed by Toronto, then Paris, then San Francisco and Los Angeles Gladiators are tied for fourth, and then Dallas Fusion is in sixth. Then we have the knockoff cutoff, and then also in sixth would be Houston, Outlaws, Washington Justice, Atlanta, and then 10th is London. What happened to London, man? I thought they were really good. Florida is 11th, and Vancouver is in last and 12th, and that's for West. For the East, we have Sanghold Dynasty in the first, followed by New York, then Chengdu Hunters, then Hangzhou Spark, then Guangzhou Chargers, and Philadelphia and Shanghai Dragons are tied for sixth, and then Los Angeles Valiants are in eighth. Are all Los Angeles teams always in last? I feel like they are. I don't know. Overwatch League is very interesting. For League of Legends, all right, in LCS this week, 100 Thieves finished first. Then tied with first for them is also TSM. We have Cloud9 and Team Liquid tied for third. We have Evil Geniuses in fifth, which we also got a very good performance from Evil Geniuses, specifically Cloud9 Diapers. That's our old running joke nickname for him, but Contrast came in for a game and he played a very well jungle game for Evil Geniuses this week, so definitely check that game out if you haven't watched it already. We have Dignitas in 6, Immortals in 7, CLG making it out with their new strat of Vi and Galio running each game. They've made it and they are now 8th, tied for 8th still. but currently I guess they're making it into playoffs if they keep performing the way they do. And FlyQuest, which is also tied for 8th, falls behind, and then dead last is Golden Guardians. For EU, we have Misfits and first, Fnatic and Rogue are tied for 2nd. G2, Mad Lions, and Vitality are all tied for 4th. Astrals, Excel, and Sklocko 4 are all tied for 7th. And then SK Gaming are tied for 10th, picking up, I think, their first game this week, actually, being 1-6. Sklocko 4, I think, they really don't care about their team. I think these guys are playing for fun because rumor has it that they're selling their spot. So very soon, that I think they're gonna sell their spot probably after this year's Worlds. So they're just kind of running it out and running the clock, so to speak. In Korea, we have Gen.G in first, followed by Damwon, and then Ningxum Red Force. Afrika Freaks is 4th. Tied for 5th is Fredit Baron and Live It Sandbox. In 7th, we have T1, and then KT Roster in 8th. Poor Chovy and Hangwon Life in 9th, and then DRX dead last, being 0-6. Chovy and Faker are just having a tough time, I guess, in their respective league. In China LPL, we have LNG in first, followed by Edward Gaming, and then Fun Plus in 3rd. Rare is 4th, 5th is Oh My God, then Team WE, then JD Gaming, then LEGD, and then Top Esports, and then Billy B in 10th. Then we have Invictus in 11th, Sunning 12th, Royals Never Give Up. 14th is Ultra Prime Rogue Warriors, and 15th, 16th is Thunder Talk Gaming, and Victory 5 is 17th, dead last. Talking about game releases that are coming out now that we're in the 29th, tomorrow or today that the game this is going up. I know that the 9.1 WoW update is out probably right now, or they're in maintenance. So you WoW heads will finally be able to get your content that you guys have been asking for like 6 months. Hope it's good. Hope it lasts. Yeah. Other than that, Mario Golf is out. We have Doom Eternal coming out for PS5, Xbox Series X for next-gen consoles. They came out. Greedfall coming out for next-gen consoles as well. Nothing huge. Moving into July, on July 6th, we'll start to get game releases. We'll get Plague Tale for next-gen consoles. We will get Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruination for Switch and PC. We will get Space Jam: A New Legacy for Xbox X and X on the July 16th. We'll get F1 2021, the racing game, on the 16th. We'll get Lost at Sea on the 15th. Nothing huge. The big one this month, of course, being Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or not, I keep saying Breath of the Wild, it's my favorite game. Skyward Sword HD for the Switch comes out on July 16th. That's going to be the big one. So, and some Near Reincarnation for the mobile game also got an announced date for the 28th of July. So some small updates for July. So look forward to that. Anyway, that's going to conclude this week's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had a good time enjoying my talk. I enjoyed talking about it. As always, quick reminder, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps us out. All the links to our previous shows on our YouTube archive, etc., is all in the description below. So definitely go browse through there, check out, have a second through there. You can find everything, all the information you need. Anyway, that's going to conclude this week's show. This is your host, Salty Waffles, signing off, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful climb.